Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing really well, and it's good to see you again. So today's video is my very first Q&A to celebrate 1.5k subscribers. Thank you all for your tremendous kindness and support, because it means a lot to me. Thank you. So here I have this book in which I have written down all of your questions. They were all very interesting, and I'm excited to share my thoughts with you. Hopefully you find this relaxing or entertaining, and maybe we'll all learn something about ourselves along the way. So, let me begin. At the beginning. First question, okay. We have, what are the current themes of your life? What an interesting question. So, I don't mean to be pessimistic with this. It's just the first or, second, third words I thought of. And I thought a lot about this question, okay? What are the themes of my life currently? Some deep stuff, okay? So, petrified. Is that a theme? Not quite. So, then I elaborated. Rejected. Misconceived. And then I thought that's really emo. I need to, examine this further because it's concerning. And then I said reawakening. Hypnagogic state between sleep and consciousness. I was explaining this to my friends today. So, as many times as this has happened, I can count on both hands, okay? But sometimes after I wake up in the morning, I can close my eyes, keep them closed, and I see a geometric pattern in perfect symmetry that's divided into 8 slices, and it looks like a kaleidoscope, and I can influence it with my attention, and it's very vivid. It's not like bright saturated colors, but this is like a hallucination, and then I have euphoria. I don't know why this happens, but I find it very comforting. It's like this state of coming back into your mind, and I feel like I unlocked like some kind of superpower or something, but I can't control it. And it's just it's like emotional well-being washes over my entire body, and I can feel it in this shape and these colors. It's very abstract, and it's constantly shifting. That's how I feel. That's like a theme of my life. It's constantly shifting, and I'm aiming towards wellness. What else did I write? Cultivating hope. I don't think hope is the theme. I think it's the cultivating part. Believing in goodness. I grew up with being told that the world is evil and people are stupid and everyone is basically a horrible person. That's not true. I think most people, and you may disagree, I think most people on Earth are good, which is why we don't know about them, because they're normal and they don't wish anyone harm, and we never hear about them because they don't bother anyone. So I got a few more themes to elaborate on, okay? Disability is a theme, but not like primary, like elaborated theme. It's just like an issue that I have. Coming to terms with pain and fatigue, my limits, asking for help, and working through shame. So these are like the karmic debts I'm paying. This is very interesting. I didn't think about this until I started writing. Thank you for your question, though. It's very sweet to, think about people and yourself. It's like the world is a good place. And I'm trying to constantly, a big theme of my life is constant shifting. That's the theme, majorly. What is a day in the life of Boxcar ASMR like? A day in my life. With the shifting thing, I have different opinions on everything every day. I don't remember anything that I've said or done in the past. Let's see what I wrote, okay? I used to go to work every day. I used to go to work every day. Yeah. As a teacher, I would go to work, and that just became unsustainable at this point with where I'm at. So I used to, this is not that long ago, but like a couple months ago, I would begrudgingly awake and set off. I would drive 30 minutes to work. I would work, and then I'd go home, and then I would take a nap. The big thing is napping, okay? And then I would wake up at nighttime and stay up into the night because I like it. Right now it is 2:52 a.m. and that's usually when I try to record because I love just this hour. This is like my favorite time of day. And there's a very poetic sense about the phrase 4 in the morning. You'll hear it in a bunch of songs and poetry. 4 in the morning, because it's a very romantic, mysterious time. It's like the opposite of daytime. Wow, what a great insight. Now my life is, I'm recovering from psychotic depression. Some of you may be like, whoa, what does that mean? Disorganized thoughts and catatonia. I'm like a mole in that I'm hiding in a hole. And I feel blind. But I want to be like a mud skipper. I want to be free and happy like a mud skipper seems. Just swimming through mud, jumping, skipping. I follow accounts that post videos of their pet mud skippers. I don't know the ethics of having a pet mud skipper, but they seem happy, okay? I want to be like that. So a day in my life is today. I got up early. I walked a dog. I made breakfast, and then I showered. And then I did my laundry. And then I made lunch. And then I worked on art commissions that I do. Digital art commissions, and now I'm making a video. I never do stuff like that. I never take care of myself. It's always been really hard for me to initiate tasks because I have executive dysfunction. And I'm not living in the healthiest space, okay, within myself and like the environment. Dude, nobody's fault. It's just hard to explain, you know. It's the kind of thing you explain to your therapist and then they like never let it go, and they're always like, hey, how's that situation? And you're like, I wish I never told you this. So I'm not gonna tell online what's going on, but right now I don't leave the house, and my room's a mess. So I'm trying to give myself more credit for the things I accomplish and for my progress that I've made, and honor my relationships. I try to read a book nowadays. I look at jobs. I take a lot of naps and watch like video game streams. Among them, right now I'm watching Germa because he's back. Germa 95. Northern Line because he replaced Germa basically when he went into retirement. And Wayne Radio TV because his friend group is really funny. And I like Half-Life VR, but the AI is self-aware. That's a really, I watched that like 20 times. So I just like indulge in my slop. But it's like articulate slop, okay? It's very sophisticated slop. I'm trying to get to a better place, and I'm moving soon, so everything is going to drastically change in my life. For the first time really ever, and everything's going to change. And that's scary. So my life's going to turn upside down. I try to meditate every day and think healthier, and part of that is listening to other people talk and reading other people's thoughts to try to ground myself in reality and learn every day more interesting thoughts, okay? I work on being a better person, getting better every day, resting and exploring. I'm alone most of the time. Most days I spend alone, so I try to make the best of the last days I spend in this area. I live in Florida. I was born in Florida. I lived here my entire life, okay? And I've always genuinely abhorred it. So I'm leaving. I'm moving to New York City with my girlfriend. And my life kind of got weird when my last relationship ended because very codependent, and I will say that it's probably all my fault. But like it's fine. We're still friends, but our relationship lasted 9 years. So I didn't really know what to do with myself for a long time. And I'm just coming back into like myself and starting this new relationship. Trying to trust again other people and taking chances and moving forward. That's what my life's like right now. I'm getting better. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back every couple days. Next question. These are good so far. Thanks for letting me use my noggin. How have I been doing? I'm just like, I've been doing better than I have been, which is to say, recently I am taking better care of myself. I am reaching out to more people. I ask for help when I need it, and I have good friends on the internet who help me a lot with everything. And I do a lot of art to try to process my emotions. This next question, how have I been? Basically, I've been well, thank you. This whole video will be an elaboration on how I am. You can tell me in the comments. You can diagnose me in the comments with like whatever mental illness you think I have, okay? Someone asked, what's your opinion on grass? I ask this to everyone, Lamau. So my first assumption being autistic was that you're an agronomist, a grass scientist. I like grass. That's where field mice live. That's where prairie dogs roam. I don't like yards because they're bad for the environment. And if you mean the other grass, I'll get into it. Why not? Maybe you'll understand, relate. Yeah, I started indulging in that it's like taboo, right? Taboo. In some places of the world it's taboo. But I started engaging in those activities, the agronomist activities, when I was like 14 years old. And the first time I got high, I realized I didn't care when I got in trouble. So that was great. I overindulged for a long time. And, I'm trying to do it in moderation now and not go crazy. I don't want to evangelize a drug, but it's for like educational or relational purposes, okay, that I speak on it. Because I am like addicted to it, and it makes me regret the loss of my brain cells, you know what I mean? I remember doing it with my friend when I was like 17 or something, still in high school, and she was driving, and then she pulled out a blowtorch while she was driving, and then that's when I kind of started thinking like, oh, this isn't really like what I want to be doing. Just being reckless and stupid and not taking care of myself and like putting other people in danger. It was really, I really didn't like, I didn't ever hang out with them again. I like the way it feels, okay? It helps me with mental illness, but it also causes a lot of the problems I'm using it to solve. Does that make sense? So if you don't do it, you probably shouldn't. But I'm going to get more into this topic. Sorry if that's, we're all adults, okay? How do I relax and unwind? Well, I do that a lot, but that's not how do you say, that's not really relaxing by itself after a while. I like to read when I can. I stay off of Twitter and social media. I don't look at the news. It's a lot of preventative measures I take to remain calm, okay? Not avoidance, but prevention. To calm down, I do a lot of breathing. To unwind, I do progressive relaxation. I listen to a lot of ASMR. I watch those streamers I mentioned. That helps. I listen to a lot of music, and that helps me regulate my emotions and organize my thoughts. So, relaxing, unwinding, singing. The lyrics to songs are very important to me. They stand out very boldly. It's the best part about music is the literary part to me. I relax and unwind by spending time talking to friends, by petting my cats, and playing games where you decorate houses. That's what I like to do. And do art. When I'm not working on commissions, I'll do personal art, which I'll show you some of. So, what do you do in your spare time? I like to do art, to read. I like to make videos a lot. I like talking to people who understand me. And yeah, I like to be on the computer. There's a post that says, I knew since I was young that I wanted to be on the computer. Goodness. I love this question. Next question, by the way. What are your favorite formative things? Are you kidding me? I love formative things. I love forming development. Formative things. Okay, here's what I wrote. I wrote video games. is how I bonded with my family. Like at points we would all play Rock Band in the garage. Those are some of like the best memories I have, is playing games with my family. Video games. Very formative to me. I would wake up as a teenager. I would wake up at 6 in the morning during the summer to play Halo 3 with my friends, because all of my friends basically live in other places my entire life. What kind of games did I like? Okay. Besides browser games when I was a real little kid, the first real favorite game I had was Portal. I would write the story of Portal. I also love writing. I don't mention that. I literally love writing as much as I love reading. Maybe even more. I loved Portal. I loved RuneScape as a kid. Now I love games still. I love Elden Ring. I was really into that for like hundreds of hours. I like games. I like games. Indie folk rock. So when I was like 10, I found like music. I started looking at music that I like just like, bands from, God, 2008. And you go back and you listen, it's so twee, and it's just so saccharine, but they still got some ditties, like, I'm not going to mention a single band because it's like mortifying, but I'll get into the ones that I like now, okay? Indie folk rock. Why did I write this? Okay. Homestuck. I loved that. I loved it. It's cringy now, but I liked it before. It was cool, okay? And it was never really cool, but it was popular. I just loved that. There was a page in my psychology textbook in college, and it was about abnormal mental states and like just mental illness. And the first thing, it was like a picture of a furry drawing by a 12-year-old, and it said it was like one of the writer's kids' drawings. I was like, oh my god. It's just like someone with autism, like a 12-year-old with autism drawing furries as mental illness. I watched Machinima, which was like video game plays. Like, people would record video games and like do little soap operas with them. It was really good, and I liked making it, and I liked making stop motion and watching stop motion, and I love drawing. Drawing was and is my favorite ability. I also loved Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome. This is when I got a little older, like 12. I started listening to Welcome to Night Vale, which was like a mystery, surreal, fantasy kind of podcast. It was really good. And like when you're like a random, oh my god, I'm so random, 12-year-old, and when you're in middle school, I was really like, I've always been more taste developed. My tastes are more developed than like my peers at this time. I really liked pet games though, like Neopets. I love Neopets still. I liked learning how to code HTML and CSS. In high school I made video games, like little simple video games. I would draw the assets and plug in the code. I liked, in middle school, I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and that was really influential on the way, I conceived of everything. Right now, is it still formative when it's like current and you're older? I don't know. The contemporary interests I have are like, later I started watching Star Trek The Next Generation and DS9, Deep Space Nine. Those are really good shows. That's my favorite shows. I played Disco Elysium, the video game, where you play a detective. I really like detective characters. I really resonate with like the sense of justice they have and the mysteries of their stories. It's probably my favorite genre, but I have like dreams in that narrative, like a mystery thriller, not a thriller, but like a psychological intrigue thing. I love astrology, which I'm about to get into. I love pinball. I like to go play pinball. Pinball is very rare. No matter where I am, I probably have to drive at least 40 minutes or travel 40 minutes to go play pinball, which is a travesty. I really like it. My favorite pinball table is the Jaws one that came out last year. I like watching streamers, and formatively, I like teaching. And art was very formative, like drawing. I started drawing because I wanted to watch cartoons when they weren't on TV. I would draw new episodes, and I would just draw characters constantly. Cartoons were also very formative for me. I watched all the cartoons of, the early 2000s. So someone asks, what do you think the impact of Pluto and Aquarius is going to be? So far, all of the technology is not working. It's going to be like a technological thing. We're all going to come to know the other. We're all going to expand outside of ourselves. I think it's going to be mostly positive. I would say that I'm very in touch with Pluto's energy being a Scorpio. And Aquarius is a liberating sign. The world and society specifically in the next 100 years is going to evolve faster than any other point in history, and I believe things should and are going to have to come to a point of decolonialization. And degrowth. It's just to sustainability is what the best outcome of that transit is. So if you're listening and you don't know about anything I just said, that's okay. Next, I'm going to get into astrology. So someone asks, what are your signs? I'm a Scorpio with Capricorn moon and Leo rising. I have a Scorpio Venus and Mercury and a Virgo Mars. And then it goes on into the generational planets. I have Saturn in Aries. I believe Neptune and Uranus are in Aquarius, and then I have Sagittarius, Pluto. That's the lore drop on me. Some of you are like, I understand it all. And like, it's a lot. I'm a Scorpio, which is very fitting. I feel like a Scorpio. And I'm a Capricorn moon, which is interesting. And I'm a Leo rising. So I like to perform. I'm brooding, and I'm emotionally resolute and very dramatic. And the way I love is very intense and all-consuming and devouring of the other person. And I'm very nervous. That's basically all that means. So the scientific basis of astrology, a lot of people say it's not real. So there's a scientific basis of astrology that I believe in. And it's that the planet Earth is a living structure. Celestial bodies have immense energy because gravity and mass warps space-time, and it's so powerful that it pulls objects toward it. It has its own presence. So, if the material world affects us so greatly, if we're impacted by seasons, if we're impacted by weather or atmosphere, the sun and the moon, why then, I don't know why then we wouldn't be impacted by every celestial body in the entire universe. I'm not kidding. So, astrology is like this cultural thing, right? People in the past had this intuition that if you divided our revolution around the sun into equal parts, that constitutes a cycle. And they assigned, based on observations, they assigned attributes, but more importantly, they assigned parts of a story to the signs. And when I observe and I cross-reference and I think about, how everyone I know is, and if I describe someone's personality based on their chart, they're always 100% like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. And I don't know anything about them, and I don't agree with what I'm saying, and I can't imagine anyone feeling that way. But they feel the way I describe. Because it's like, it's not confirmation bias, it's some eerie, uncanny, very real stuff that I can't believe exists. And I can't believe it because it's so chillingly accurate. And people don't like astrology because of the stereotypes. But when you realize it's just a map, it's a map of, your material life and how it relates to everything in the universe, how everything we see and hear and feel is real, then you start to, notice patterns, and you notice things about people that aren't preordained, but they are influenced by the time of year that they were born. In this grand way that is obviously incomprehensible because we don't understand the true nature that we inhabit. Yeah. Reality is very symbolic. I believe people take material reality too literally, and so they want a concrete, scientific, measured analysis. That's what I see in astrology, but people don't understand enough about it and don't study it and don't take it seriously. And then so they just act like they know everything. And it's like annoying because I don't have like an organized religion. I have awareness, meditation, and astrology, and tarot cards. And I've had people tell me that's satanic, and you're allowed to think whatever you want. Godspeed. And the book I'm reading right now, I have with me, is Anti-Oedipus, Capitalism and Schizophrenia. If you look at this book on Goodreads, everyone is either angry because it's incomprehensible, or they're like astonished because it's absolute genius. And I think it's pretty much really interesting. I'm 18 pages in and I don't understand any of it, but it's more of a like symbolic language. It's not explaining things in a concrete way, so people find it really frustrating. But it's providing ideas in a very way that is painterly and is very thought-provoking. My favorite book is Doors of Perception because it's short, it's fun to read. It's basically a trip report of Aldous Huxley when he took mescaline. And think of that what you will. You know, I read this book when I was 14, and it was very relevant, and now I understand it's because of awareness, my interest in awareness and consciousness that I'll get to. That's why I find it interesting, and how the purposeful use of things like that can lend itself to greater awareness and novel consciousness experiences. My favorite movie is Magnolia. It has a soundtrack by the artist Amy Mann, and at points in the movie, the characters are all singing an Amy Mann song. It's very, again, I showed it to my friends and they were not pleased because, I won't spoil it, but it's not, the resolution isn't very literal. It's very symbolic and it's very outlandish when it plays itself really straight, and then the whole time it's just this thing about synchronicities. It follows several perspectives. It's a really interesting and good movie. I recommend it highly. And I also just watched the movie Amadeus for the first time, and that's probably one of my favorite movies. Other favorite movies are The Exorcist 3, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Inherent Vice, and The Master. Yeah, I know 3 Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I'm like such a... It's Kino, guys. It's Kino cinema. TV shows. Star Trek, Deep Space Nine is my favorite TV show, and so is House MD. I've watched both a couple times. And The Next Generation, I have, I don't know if you can see it, I have action figures of Data, the android, because he longs to be human. My favorite musician is Ted Leo. He's in a band called Ted Leo and the Pharmacists. I would recommend listening to him if you like, kind of like motivational, like music about life and work and the meaning of art. Just thoughtful, lyrical music, and he shreds. That's the kind of artist when he walks out on stage, you're kind of starstruck. But I've been starstruck in the past at concerts when I was obsessed with people, musicians, and I felt so far away from them. I felt detached. I felt like I put them on a pedestal and I idolized them. But when I saw Ted Leo in person, I was like, that's a real human being, which is kind of messed up. I understand that now, okay? I see everyone as a human being now. I'm talking about when I was like a teenager, and I was like obsessed. I was obsessed with the band The Mountain Goats. It's neither here nor there, guys. It's neither here nor there. I like Ted Leo because his music is honest, straightforward, but very poetic. My other favorite musicians are They Might Be Giants. I've seen them in concert 4 times. It's very fun every time. Amy Mann, as I mentioned, she did the soundtrack for Magnolia, and she was in the band Till Tuesday, who did the song Voices Carry. And Nico Case, she's an alt country singer. I also like Prefab Sprout. You should check out Prefab Sprout and their album Swoon. It's my favorite album. If you could meet anyone, alive or dead, who would you meet? This is a funny question because my answer, and I thought about it a lot, I tried to come to a different answer that is more presentable, more palatable. I would love to meet someone genuinely evil, so I could inflict pain upon them. Because there's not really anyone I want to meet. There's nobody. I'd love to meet Data, the robot from Star Trek, The Next Generation. Someone asked what my dream is, like my dream, I guess, goal or life outcome. And ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a musician. I can play guitar rudimentarily, and I am okay at singing. I'm okay at it. Like, I want to be able to write poetry and express it in a musical way. That's my dream for life. I hope I can fulfill it before I die. Also, how do I feel about dying? That's a funny question. I just thought of. Nobody asked me that. I'm chill with that. I think, I like to live. But if you're immortal until proven otherwise. So don't worry about it, I think of it as going home, because I remember before I was born, I just was nothing. It was fine. Someone asked the best dreams I've ever had. So the best dream I ever had, it wasn't like this self-indulgent thing. It was a very spiritual, meaningful dream that involved ancient imagery, okay? Deep psychic knowledge from our DNA. So after my mom passed away, that same week, I had a very emotionally comforting dream. It was very abstract. I don't remember, the linear details narratively. I just remember it was from the perspective of a dragonfly. It was from the perspective of a dragonfly, and then I looked up the spiritual meaning of seeing a dragonfly in your dream. And it means that someone who just passed away is okay. They're okay. And I've never felt so thankful for a dream and grateful to that imagery that I have access to in my subconscious. Because why did my brain know to give me that dream? I'd never heard, about that symbolism. But that's what it means. And it was specifically about my mother and my feelings toward her passing. And there was like a beanstalk in the dream that went all the way up into heaven. And I was just a dragonfly's perspective. And in the dream, I just knew everything was okay. So it was like exactly what it said. Other favorite dreams are anything with like a comforting emotional content. Anything abstract, or dreams where I see art, like visual art, or I read poetry. If that's part of the story or like the environment I'm in, that's my favorite dream, because I love the ability my mind has to come up with very intricate, seemingly perfect art in my mind. It's amazing. I've heard perfect music, incredibly moving, succinct emotionally, accurate lyrics that I would like, that's perfect to me because my mind created it, because I have a sense of perfection that exists forever in my mind. And just poetry that's very intriguing. The first dream I remember having was a race. It was like a Hot Wheels racetrack about Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was all of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters driving race cars that were their monsters. Like, also, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just cool, okay? You see that lunchbox back there? It's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Lunchbox I had when I was in kindergarten. Because I've been an OG since the beginning. Black Chaos Magician is really hot. And so is Dark Magician. Vivid, magical dreams. I can't explain. I can never explain. My favorite dreams are the story, movie-like dreams that I'm watching and have an insanely complex narrative. That's like, has perfect resolution. It just seems perfect. The most insane dream I've ever had was, so people say you can't feel pain in your dreams. That is a lie. The most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my brain life as like an existent organism was in a dream where this is so weird, I was sitting in a movie theater and the devil was sitting next to me in the movie theater. We were all the way in the back of the theater, and on the screen was this violently flashing, every color, every abrasive color. It was flashing intensely, faster than, you could see the colors changing. And it felt like it just felt like every cell in my body was on fire and just in pain, and that I assumed that's what hell is for real. And I just saw and I just was hanging out. Whatever that means. What is your relationship to gender? What are my ideas about gender? If anyone has a problem with what I'm about to say, I just want to say, I don't care. The people I love and who like me are the coolest people I've ever met, and if anyone has a problem with what I'm about to talk about, I think you're lame as hell, and I don't care. I know who I am. I know what's real. And if you think you can tell people what they are, then you are jaded and naive. I think it's important that people are able to talk about things in a way that is constructive and respectful. And I think it's important for me to be able to talk about I am a transgender person, and it's very sad right now to be that in the world, and it's unsafe sometimes, and I don't talk about it, and I prefer in real life to just everybody treats me normal. Because I'm a human being. And I want to talk about it because some people don't get the choice. They don't get the choice to disclose this or not. You can just tell by looking at them, and that's kind of messed up. That we are controlled. We are controlled. And, okay, this is what I'm going to say, y'all. There's a narrative going around that, transgender people are brainwashed. The biggest scam and brainwashing that's ever taken place in history is making people perform an identity based on their genitals. It's really weird. That's not, and people think that's what makes you human. That's how people identify humanity, is their gender. And if you can't recognize someone's gender right away, people become very hostile. They become uncomfortable. They think they can seriously. I know it is, and I hope that you don't think differently of me. Like I said, some of you are going to be like, we knew. Like, he said that was one of my coworkers' reactions when I told them at work. And then she was like, I know. And I was like, okay, cool. I just don't even feel like, I don't feel like I've been able to talk about it because people will be like, why do you have to bring it up? And it's like, it's just as normal as bringing up your gender. And I've had a lifetime of ignorance, dealing with violence, and it's just gross. It's just gross. And I don't care anymore. It doesn't bother me anymore. If anybody has a problem with me as a person, they should get a life. If you have a problem with people like me, you should realize that everybody's different, but everybody's the same. You're basically just one instance of humanity. You're not the arbiter of what's real. And neither am I. Because it's subjective. And that's the point. And when you enforce an assigned thing like that onto people, you are opening the stage for this identity, this counter-identity, this transgression of that identity to exist. So you kind of created the problem that you're upset about. In a roundabout way, it's all your fault. Here's what I wrote down. Fuck anyone who has a problem with that. And then this leads into my section of this video where I say, I knew as a kid, I didn't understand that like a part of my body had to dictate who I was and how people talk to me. I didn't understand that. I still don't. It's a historical context that I have no control over. And when I went through puberty, I was just like dismally upset. I couldn't, go shopping for the clothes I needed. I was confused about why people weren't treating me the same as before. I was confused about why certain things were happening. And people started being like really mean to me when I was ambiguous after puberty. Like people would always ask me in middle school, like, are you a boy or a girl? And one day I came home and I told my dad, like, people are asking me if I'm a boy or a girl. And he said, what do you expect when you look like that? And then that's like the most annoying shit I've ever heard. So I've been hurt by the people I loved the most. So if you're like a stranger and you think you're gonna like talk to me about this, the way you interact with other people and the way you conduct yourself is your business. And if you wanna talk down to people, you wanna tell them what you think they are, what you think is real. Basically, yeah. To navigate the world, I have uniformly decided anyone who has any problem with what I got going on or just is weird. Like, I don't want that person in my life, and it doesn't matter. Those people are of so little consequence to me that I have full confidence in myself, because I get to do that, and if that makes you mad, that makes me happy. And if you're cool and normal, then you're cool and normal, and so am I. I hope if you do, I hope it's normal. I hope you understand. Yeah, I just wanted to say all that because I do want to alienate those people who have a problem with it before I continue with this project. This project in relation to the other, to myself. This book, this anti-Oedipus book, it describes the mind as like a recording device, and we are constantly creating the recording of our interpretations of other people. We're constantly recording the expressions of ourselves and embedding that into every new moment. And part of that is just discernment and awareness. If you are a thinking individual, you're going to wonder, why is stuff the way it is? And you're going to challenge that. So that's another part of Aquarius and Pluto and Aquarius. People realizing their own place in the world, how they relate to other people, how they relate to themselves. Seeing yourself reflected in the world is the most beautiful thing, and that's why I want to talk about that. Because if there's anyone, because when I was growing up, I just wanted to see someone who I could understand and who understood me. So when people spoke about it were like musicians, they would speak on stage about like, that stuff's important, you should care about other people, you should be nice to other people, you shouldn't be a fascist. And that's awesome. If I had a dream to do anything, I would want to be a person who helps other people. I would want to be someone who is established in my community, who has a strong connection to the people I love, who can see me and I can see them. Because that's what life's about, because we're social creatures. And early human culture, these things didn't exist. And just because biological consequences of birth, like the way that we are produced, is so dehumanized. The culture began because of people helping each other survive. And when the culture comes to a point where it is caustic and hurting people, and the base value of life is diminished because of things like war, when the global standard, the world soul, is diminished, it's not good for anyone's life or heart. It's artificial power that is fleeting and so spiritually reductive and regressive that it's like impudence, and I can't tolerate it. And that's why I want to say this stuff, because if you don't think about this, good, you can think about whatever you want, but you gotta realize, like, people are allowed to talk about whatever they want, just like you're allowed to be who you are and say what you want and think what you want. So is everyone else. So why is what I'm doing, it's not telling other people what they can and can't do. And that's the difference between me and people who disrespect others. It's just like if you had a problem with someone's race or any other, like, immutable trait that you are projecting onto them based on their genealogy. You're ignoring the history of all humankind. surrounding this stuff is scary. And if you think you find power in like diminishing other people, I find that really lame. That's my piece. Thank you. Someone asks, who's your favorite Pokemon? And that, my friend, would be Keldeo, the legendary pony. And Poplio is the best starter, and Ogerpon is adorable and narratively very cute. I love that little guy, and I love Zacian, the sword wolf, because that's objectively the coolest one. Who are your favorite ASM artists? I don't like to pick favorites, so I'll go in no order, okay? I like the user Triple Tingles and their Reiki videos. I like Alex R. ASMR and her beautiful ideas. She did shout me out in her last video, her Q&A, and I was very flattered because she called me a complicated person. The nicest way I've ever heard someone propose that. And I like Emma's MySpace. That's like the most popular one that I like. I like Dags ASMR. She just started posting. I like Candy ASMR. Her videos are in black and white. I love her voice. I like Loving Hypno ASMR. I'm listening to one of her videos right now to relax and calm down while I record this. I like Miss Roseanne ASMR, who does Bimbo ASMR. Very funny. Sarah Louise Tilsey, and I like her Reiki videos. She's very healing and helpful. I like Spidey ASMR's mouth sounds and the web trigger. And I just like the gimmick of being Spider-Man. I think it's really funny. I don't know. I like Simply ASMR. They have voluptuous hair. And they're just a really nice, kind person. I like Sparkle Summer and her videos about, like, strawberry shortcake. And I like her glasses and her personality. I like Starfin ASMR and their Reiki videos and their roleplays. They have a very elegant, interesting way of speaking. I like Strawberry Cat ASMR and their, like, roleplays are really cute. I like Source Energetics ASMR videos. I like Grimp Hurtons ASMR. That's a new channel. I like the stuff they talk about. He talks about really cool stuff. About like mental health and reality. I like Masayoshi's lipstick channel. And I am debating whether to, was debating, but I'm gonna let you know. Battle God Takeover channel. I don't know what this guy's got going on. He wears a visor, an electronic visor. I don't think we've ever seen his eyes. And he has an interesting lore. I find those, I don't usually watch his videos, but I am subscribed, and I think they're pretty funny. There are others. I usually watch, like, small channels, and I got, like, some heavy ones on rotation, and then I got, like, the niche stuff. Yeah. What inspired you to start making ASMR? It was Poppin' Cookin' videos where they take those Japanese gummy foods and create them. They taste really bad, but they're really cute, and it's really satisfying to watch. I started watching those in like 2013 before I knew what the ASMR community was. And I would watch like unintentionally relaxing like videos where people were just talking lightly about like mundane things, and there was like either music playing in the background or like white noise. ASMR, and I love listening to calming sounds. I like the personalities. I like sharing a projection, like an image of yourself, and people being able to like consume that. I like making videos because I want to provide like a meaningful place on the internet to when you watch someone talk to themselves in a camera, but they're talking to you and they're sharing ideas, and you get to kind of consume that alone in your like isolated space. It's like it can be very therapeutic. It can be very like socially engaging when you don't have that immediately available. It can just like help you think better, help you like get different perspectives, and it's easy to just relax and listen, more so than like a rambunctious vlog. I don't really watch vlogs ever. I just watch people with interesting personalities share their ideas in an open platform while they happen to be whispering. And I find that people who have like ASMR century of painting called intimatism. Intimatism, it was the paintings of like the insides of rooms, mostly like domestic scenes in just the rooms that people inhabited. A lot of examples of that. This isn't like a traditional one in the sense. I just was exploring color symbolism and how shapes and color can interact to tell a story in a picture without like clear, concrete, figurative language. Because the inside of a house is like an internal world. I just wanted to convey an internal world, and like the recording button at the top is representative of like our awareness and our perspective and how we integrate things into our memory based on what we experience and see. The stars in the sky is like a repeated symbol that I use throughout a couple works to represent just, happenstance and positionality of different entities that are all the same but separated. Yeah, that's what that piece is about. The ladder here is another representation of growth, and you see the cat could get to the top of the house. It's like new perspectives, gaining higher ground within yourself. This was a painting I did on New Year's to represent just new beginnings. I just wanted to paint something digitally that looked like an oil painting to me. I wanted a landscape that was abstracted with the night sky, and I got this idea for a horse. The symbolism of the horse is like freedom and exploration and like individuality, and that's why it's like one horse. And he's standing in front of the sun because the sun is like singular as well, and it's like this center of energy and power and renewal. And the desert is like a blank slate where you can kind of like a mirage, you'll see the desert reflect something within that is missing. Yeah. I like to do self-portraits sometimes. This one says, "Things are still better now." And in the top right corner it says, "Your star in my sky." It's like a romantic kind of piece. I came to terms with things that were happening with my attachment and with my relationships. And it's like I got the health at the bottom. I'm holding the sword. I'm this little like jester king, like a petty lord or something. And things are still better now, even though you've been through hardship. You still come out better for it. And your star in my sky is like looking to other people for hope and like seeing endless potential in other people. And also that reflecting through with yourself. It's cool. This piece is one I'm really proud of. I was mostly working with colors and composition, seeing how shapes could, again, like convey emotional ideas. This piece is about how I thought no one could ever hurt me again. I was wrong in the romantic sense. It's a little naive and green of me, but it also shows me like resilience. And the flower is like a butterfly symbol as well. Butterfly flower. The roots imagery and like the tree is just like different aspects of a whole system working differently in unison and synthesizing life. The wheel choose the, the state you're in, basically. You choose how you look at things. And the way I think is really black and white, but there's all these different colors that you can see, that you can choose from. I had a therapist one time, and she didn't really help me. I didn't like it. I didn't like talk therapy because it just re-traumatized me. But she said something like, the circumstances we're born into, we can't control, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. And then I drew this dice as a house, this die as a house. There's I don't know what the thing's called, the wind thing, the signpost, the freaking navigator on the top of the house, the compass, I don't know, what is it called, I don't know. There's a windmill, again representing like natural forces. There's people playing on train tracks, because that's what I did with my friends when I was a sad teenager, and standing on train tracks represents recklessness and like a desire to go too close to the sun almost. The hopscotch kind of lettering numbers on the sidewalk towards the house, it gets smaller as you approach the house. It says a bird's nest inside of it. The numbers get higher as you exit because possibilities grow when you leave your house. That's the thing. Okay, that's what that one's about. This is another self-portrait kind of thing. I said, I love everything. It's all alive, breathing. Can you feel it? And there's like this marionette imagery and angel wings and like this radioactive cradle, like fetal position person who is me. Yeah, this just represents like everything being in the same instance, like the universe being in that infinitesimally small point and exploding into everything. I love everything. It's all alive, breathing. Can you feel it? Yeah. Maybe I'll tell you later what inspired this at some point. This is another one with me in it. I'm like weird. I have TV antennas coming out of my head, and I'm holding a dandelion because I'm making wishes on it. And it says, I wish I knew, I think I knew. And it's just how there's like an image of me there with like fairy wings. It's like similar to the TV antenna, but it's like alive, and you're not just receiving, but you're like experiencing. I really like this piece. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it other than it's like interfacing with the self and color and freedom. I just like how it speaks for itself based on the color and the images. Yes. This one has a poem I wrote. I really like this piece that I made. It's just about like coming out of your cocoon, fully formed, and just daydreaming, romanticizing, fantasizing about connection that you already have within you. I found a rainbow in my room coming through the window, and it reminded me of you like most things do. Honey-colored moon, a reflection on the water, June bugs, rain, and butterfly cocoons. That's what it says. And yeah, in the top it says synonyms. This one is about Florida, about growing up in Florida, being a sad kid, and like having a fragile heart. The angel wings on his head kind of represent like